So you didn't get into VFS and you didn't get into Toronto Film School. Well, you're in luck, because that means your creative process is entirely your own.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, film crew, and thank you for joining the team. My name is Austin Lutz, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about how do you succeed in this business if you didn't actually get a post-secondary education. For starters, let's talk about me. First of all, I didn't go to college or university for filmmaking. I actually went to school to be a heavy equipment mechanic way back when. I got into filmmaking in high school by just doing YouTube videos, class projects, the same thing that everybody else does, and we didn't actually have a film teacher. And so in order to go to Skills Canada to show off our medal on a provincial stage, we actually had our cosmetology teacher sort of pose as our film teacher so that we had a teacher's support so we could actually get into the competition. And we didn't actually finish. We got too caught up trying to do a rap video up on the roof of Red Deer College, where we were definitely not allowed to be. But you know what? That experience was number one on my list of mistakes that made me into the videographer that I am today. That's a topic for a totally different video. Today we are talking exclusively about how do you get work when you don't have the credentials to show for it. There's a lot of ways that you can get into this business, and your mileage may vary, but I'm going to tell you the real basics of how I got started, and it might work for you. Basically, shoot everything you can. Compile a portfolio. Get your camera, your phone, your grandma's phone, whatever the heck you want. Go out and shoot something. It's really hard to prove that you have the ability to do it if you haven't actually got anything to show for it. And don't worry about quality right off the get-go. There is a ton more to getting great video than to just shooting in 4 or 6K. At this moment, I have a BlackMagic Pocket 6K, but when I first started, I had an iPhone, and that's how I built a following of just over 8,000 people on a little car show I did called Lemonade Cheap Customs. It was just shooting it on your iPhones, audio on the iPhones, editing on the iPhones, everything on the iPhone. So it's definitely possible with your limited experience and equipment to make something that people will really want to watch. Once you've got a portfolio of just stuff that you shot in your house, your neighbor's house, that abandoned quarry where you definitely weren't supposed to be, shop it around. Ain't nothing to it but do it is my life's motto. There ain't nothing to it but do it. For example, what I did was I compiled a bunch of YouTube videos, failed sketch shows and comedies and dramas and 1-minute long film competitions that I had entered, and I just shopped it around with a little bit of a cover letter, and I ended up landing a sort of internship with INUMIN Media. And if you haven't heard of INUMIN Media in Edmonton, I really beg you, you have to go check them out. Gerald and the team are awesome. They've been awesome to me, and they really deserve it. But it was a tough road to follow, definitely. I was working as a mechanic, I was working for free doing videography, and the part-time actually started editing, and then kind of got thrown onto the camera gun at the last minute at a live event. And you know, to be thrust into using a gimbal and shooting on a DSLR, and you've never really spent time on a gimbal, and now you're expected to catch a live performance of a magician was incredibly stressful, but it was an amazing experience. And it's just one of those things that goes up in the bank. And, you know, definitely there was a lot of things that I really should have done better. And there's a lot of things that maybe I should have practiced beforehand. But, you know, like I said, ain't nothing to it but do it. So the lesson here is, once you've shopped your portfolio around, offer to do a little bit of work for free. Work your day job just to cover some of the bills. And on the weekends or the evening, just come by, help out, be a production assistant, put up the lights, grab the coffee. And within just a couple of weeks to a couple of months, I am sure that you're going to be grabbing a hold of the camera before you know it. It's always tough to start at the bottom, but I always had a really great reassurance because my mentor did go to film school, but he always said there was nothing that he couldn't have learned by just picking up the camera. Film school was really good for networking, but out of his graduating class, only 2 or 3 people were even still working in the industry. There's a lot of steps involved, and not everybody's experience is going to be the same. The most amazing film school in the world is YouTube University. You can find a ton of great content creators on there like Potato Jet and Film Riot, and everything that you think that you're going to need to know, those channels and those guys are going to be able to teach you, and it's not going to cost you a dime. Once you've spent time building that foundation, building your portfolio, spending time on some sets and really honing your skills, the next step is just apply, 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 apply. I know it can be really intimidating when you look at Indeed and you look at Glassdoor and you see that little must have a master's degree in physics in order to come run a camera for us, but don't be discouraged. Apply, 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 apply. I didn't think that I'd yet garnered the experience or a sizable portfolio enough to land a good paying job when I started applying around. because I really wanted to get out of the wrenching business. It just wasn't my passion. It was this. And lo and behold, I ended up landing a job with Vision Commerce Group. In just a couple of months, I was the director of content production for Vision Commerce, and I got to meet a lot of great guys like UFC heavyweight Tanner Bozer and Uncle Hack of the Danger Cats, and we had a really great time. But eventually, you might get to a point where you just kind of want to strike out on your own. Every videographer or editor is going to differ. You might not want to start working for somebody else and want to jump right away into freelancing on your own. Freelancing is the topic of next week's video, where we're going to break down the intricacies of starting a business, finding the work, doing the paperwork, and all the other little nitty-gritty things that you might be missing out on. So peace, love, stay awesome, and thank you for joining the Film Crew.